before getting into our presentation, our preliminary operating budget presentation. So our first proclamation for this meeting is the Indigenous Peoples Day proclamation. Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas Indigenous Peoples Day is a holiday in the United States that celebrates and honors Native American peoples and commemorates their histories and cultures. And whereas U.S. President Joe Biden became the first U.S. president to formally commemorate Indigenous Peoples Day, and whereas the Burien City Council and the City of Burien celebrates the citizens of sovereign Native nations and all Indigenous peoples who call Burien home and who have survived and thrived in the face of unimaginable challenges to shape Burien's past, present, and future. And whereas Coast Salish peoples of the Puget Sound are comprised of many different Native nations and have been present in what is now known as Burien for thousands of years. And whereas Native peoples representing more than 100 different sovereign Native nations, corporations, villages, and other indigenous communities have migrated here and made Burien their home, often facing forced displacement from their ancestral homes and lands of their peoples and cultures. And whereas Burien's indigenous/urban Native communities are complex and diverse, with many people who enjoy multiple Native national affiliations and are proud of their rich and complex ancestry and heritage. And whereas the Burien City Council adopted a Native land and peoples acknowledgement as a meaningful way of showing respect and demonstrating the city's active commitment to honoring the Indigenous peoples of the land on which we work and live. Now, therefore, the City Council of City of Burien, Washington hereby asks all Burien community members to join together to proclaim October 14th, 2024 as Indigenous Peoples Day.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone here to accept it?
Not this time. I did reach out to a popular known artist, but he was not responsive and could not make it.
Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Moving on to our second proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Councilmember Andrade.
Whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month is held each October to unite advocates across the nation in their efforts to end domestic violence. And whereas, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men in the U.S. will experience sexual or physical violence and/or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. And whereas domestic violence is a significant public health issue that has a devastating impact and is present in every community, regardless of race, culture, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, age, or social, economic status. And whereas patterns of abusive behavior include physical and sexual assault, emotional abuse, isolation from friends and family, monitoring and controlling another's finances to gain power and control over them. And whereas people with disabilities, those experiencing poverty, and many immigrant and refugee communities can face increased vulnerability to domestic violence and barriers to finding help. And whereas our city recognizes the importance of promoting access to emergency shelters and housing options, ensuring that no survivor is forced to choose between homelessness and returning to an abusive and unsafe living situation. And whereas the City of Burien is actively removing barriers to the siting and permitting of emergency shelter, emergency housing, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing by amending development regulations to comply with House Bill 1220. And now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Burien, Washington, does hereby ask all Burien community members to join together to proclaim October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Burien, and urges all community members to support efforts to prevent and end domestic abuse and increase awareness and action on this issue. Let's see. I did invite somebody to accept the proclamation. They unfortunately weren't able to come. So they've asked me to read off a speech. But before I did so, I wanted to continue on my behalf. The critical issue of domestic violence is something that I cannot shy away from. As a survivor of childhood domestic violence, I know all too well how this cycle can continue from one generation to the next. I grew up in an environment where fear was the norm, and as a teenager, I found myself repeating the pattern because it was what I knew. My mother, who faced her own struggles, didn't have an out, and I want to ensure that no one else feels trapped like she did. We must continue to work tirelessly to end this cycle. It's crucial to raise awareness, provide resources, and support survivors, and make available in all languages so that future generations can break free from the cycle of violence. So thank you. And then from Silent Task Force, this is what they've sent. Dear Honorable City Council and the community of Burien, on behalf of the Silent Task Force, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for the proclamation awarded to us by the City of Burien. We are deeply honored to receive this recognition for our efforts in supporting individuals affected by domestic violence. This proclamation is not just an acknowledgement of our work, but a testament to the strength and resilience of everyone involved in this cause. Survivors, advocates, partners, and community supporters. It signifies a collective commitment towards creating a safer and more compassionate environment where every individual has the right to live without fear. As we accept this recognition, we affirm our dedication to providing essential services and support those in need. Your support makes it possible for us to continue our mission to empower and uplift survivors, offering them a safe pathway to freedom and healing. Thank you, City of Burien, for partnering with us in this vital work. Together, we are making a meaningful difference in the lives of so many. With sincere gratitude, Latanya Horace Dubois, Executive Director, the Silent Task Force. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Andrade.